One thing that doesn't change here in Cannes is the obsession with stardom, causing a stir even among the ultra-sophisticates of the French film world.
Hi, my name is Damon Wise. I'm here in Cannes at the Deadline Studio. My guests today are David Cronenberg, writer-director of The Shrouds, and Vincent Cassel, the star of The Shrouds. I'm going to start with you, David. Could you just give me a sentence or two about The Shrouds? How would you describe it to people at home?
I wouldn't describe it actually, I would say go see it, but it is about a man who is grieving the loss of his wife 4 years ago, and he invents a kind of cemetery, a kind of tomb that allows one to see the body of the loved one on screens that are in the tombstones, and that's basically the burden of it. That's the premise.
What was the starting point? When did you first come up with this idea?
It's hard to know, actually. I mean, I think it was about 5 years ago, and I just was thinking about my own situation, where my wife had died in 2017, and we had been together for 43 years, and I was just thinking about all of those things, burial, and is there an afterlife, is there not, all of those things.
And how did the script take shape? There's lots of ideas in the movie. How did it snowball?
Yeah, well, it's a long process. I mean, it's hard to describe, and honestly, I don't remember the sequence of it. I do remember sort of the first scene in the movie, which I don't want to spoil, but it was the first scene that I wrote, and that really determined the whole shape of the movie right from the beginning.
Vincent, tell us about the character you play.
I play, actually, David already described it. So he's that man who lost his wife and that cannot cope with the idea of letting the loved one go. And so he invents a technical way to stay in touch as close as possible to that person. But then again, I mean, there was this idea that I would have to be a kind of a cinematic version of David, even though it's not David, and we were clear about that since the beginning. He said it's going to be a mix between you, me, and Kosh. But still, that was kind of a line, and I kind of adapted to that. Not so much physically, even though at the end in the movie it looks like we look the same, but we don't.
His hair, his hair was more like mine then, you see. And people, I mean, we don't really look alike, but somehow the magic of cinema, when you see us at a distance, there was some, we could be brothers, let's say. And it worked. As I've said, I didn't cast Vincent because of his hair, but it worked out rather well, and that's a kind of kismet, kind of inevitable after the fact.
I know he's sitting next to you, but why did you cast him? What was it about him that you saw?
Well, it's like I used to say about me in Toronto. I'm cheap and available. So Vincent was cheap and available, and I thought, hey, yeah, okay. No, we had worked twice before, and I really, he has, as anybody who knows cinema, he's got a special charisma and force and energy and emotional force on screen automatically, and I knew that would work beautifully for this character.
And why did you want to come back to work with David again?
Because it's David, then first. And I really liked the experience we had in the past. I mean, both of them, very different though. So when David called me in Paris and told me about the project, I was first of all very surprised that he gave me that responsibility, because even though it's not him, there was something very personal. And I said to him at the first meeting, I said, but David, I have no idea how I'm going to play this. And you answered, I don't know if you remember, you said, well, perfect, that's exactly why I want you to do it. From that, everything was open, I guess.
The film raises a lot of ideas about mortality and love and death and marriage. Did you discuss these things, or did you not want to discuss these things? Did you want it?
Oh, it's not that I wouldn't want to, but the script sort of says it all. I mean, really, ultimately, it's the way I write a script. It's pretty full in terms of detail and context. And I really want my actors to bring to me, to the set, what they take from the script without me trying to shape it, through discussion. I don't do rehearsals. I don't do table reads where we sit around and read. And I think a good professional actor will always bring me some surprises, and I don't want to interfere with that. When Vincent came onto the set, he was harsh. I mean, it didn't take much. He had done the work for me, which is, I'm very lazy. So if the actor will do it, let him do it.
What kind of preparation did you do for this role?
In that particular case, the thing is that the character speaks a lot, and he has a very particular way to speak. And David wrote the dialogues in a way that they were supposed to be said the way they were written. It's not something you kind of improv around. So that was kind of my spine for the whole thing. And then again, it's really about, even though the subject matter is what it is, it's really about having fun for me on set. It's how you manage to find the position, and most of the time it's really above the words. It's not like we really talked a lot with David about how things were supposed to be or whatever. We just get there. He would give me like a first position most of the time, and then we would just act, and things would come together in a very organic way. And honestly, after many years of doing this job, I don't see other ways to do it. Really, it's not really about logic. It's really about it's about how you feel, and it's an organic process.
Now, we're slightly missing Diane Kruger, who plays your wife in the movie. Could you just talk a little about the part she plays and why you cast her?
Well, once again, I mean, I look for actors who are going to bring me a lot, And Diane, ever since I saw her in The Fade, which she won an award here in Cannes years ago, I thought that I had my eye on her. I thought, this is a woman who has real depth in her acting, real power. And I only through interviews later did I realize that she wasn't used at all to working the way that I work. She's worked with people who like to rehearse and to do these table reads and do lots of discussions. And she came to Toronto, where we were shooting, in my hometown, and where the film was set. And she came there 2 weeks before we shot, and I still said, I'll see you on the set. She expected we would meet every day and discuss the character. There's no discussing the character. It would just be the character. And of course, the thing is, she was brilliant. I mean, I think she's a brilliant actress, actually. And she plays 3 roles. She plays sisters, and then she plays a kind of avatar, in which we put her in a motion capture suit, and she created this. It's still her.
How was that for you, acting opposite somebody who's playing 3 parts?
Well, I knew it would be a challenge for her, but strangely enough, we shot a movie right before this one together with Diane. And so while we were shooting the other movie before David's movie, we were talking about it, and I had these 2 experiences with David. So she was like, and she was kind of freaking out. I was saying, no, but you'll see. I mean, with David, it's going to be fine. I mean, you don't have to worry. He will never let you down. The nude scenes, you'll see. I mean, it will be always very elegant. And so, I was like, and she was, yeah. And then we got to Toronto, and we met a few times so we could work on the lines and everything. And yes, she was freaking out. I mean, I can say that because she said it in an interview many times. And all the time I said, no, but don't worry, with David, it's David.
Last question, just a very, very general question for both of you. What would you like people to take away from this movie?
I really don't care what you take away. Honestly, I really don't. I don't have any expectations. I mean, I always assume that, there'll be an audience of multiple different kinds. Some people will stay outside the experience, some people will not. And, it's an emotional movie, but it's also a funny movie. It's interesting, the screening that we had here with maybe over 2,000 people, I didn't hear a lot of laughs, but I think there are a lot of laughs, and that could be a language problem because the humor is all verbal.
Well, the first time I read the script, the subject matter, the death, the fact that there was something, private about David's life and everything, but then reading it again, I remember I called you or I left you a message and I say, I'm reading the script and I think some parts are really funny. Then I almost felt guilty by the fact that I thought, you say, yeah, I think you might be right. There'd be some comedy moments in it. What I wish people take away from this, I have no idea, honestly. I think it is an experience, and it's questioning you about what is love really. And I think this is a very personal matter, so I guess every audience will see something different in it, I guess.
One last question for David. You followed Crimes of the Future very quickly with this movie. Will you be back here in 2 years' time?
Maybe not 2 years, but and it gets harder and harder to get up those red carpeted steps. They're very steep. That's my main worry, not the filmmaking. But I'm not sure what I'll do next. I really don't. And I think for some people that would be terrifying, and for me it's just a sense of freedom, because it means anything is possible. Anything.